There was something different about Christmas Eve in the 1970s. It wasn't loud. It wasn't rushed. It glowed. The house felt warmer, the lights felt softer, and the rules somehow felt stricter, especially when it came to touching anything that even hinted at Christmas morning. Every family had their own traditions, but somehow we all remembered the same things. So tonight, we're stepping back into that quiet, magical window between dinner and bedtime to revisit 15 quirky 1970s Christmas Eve fads every kid still remembers, whether we realize it or not. Number 1. The fireplace stockings you couldn't touch early. Those thick wool blend stockings from Sears or J.C. Penney were practically sacred objects. They were scratchy, heavy, and usually held up with masking tape, pushpins, or bent nails. Number 2. The foil-wrapped gifts that reflected the tree lights. Foil wrapping paper in the 1970s wasn't just wrapping paper, it was an event in itself. Red, gold, silver, sometimes all three stacked together in one precarious pile on the living room floor. The metallic sheen caught the twinkling lights of the tree, bouncing color across walls and ceilings and turning the entire room into what felt like a little winter palace. Kids could spend hours just staring at the glow, imagining what might be inside each perfectly wrapped rectangle. And while the paper looked elegant and expensive, the second anyone touched it, the illusion was gone. The paper tore instantly. Creases formed, and sometimes the glitter rained down in a soft, magical snowfall. Moms, of course, acted like this was part of the plan, adding suspense to the holiday. For us, though, it was mesmerizing. That shimmer and anticipation became part of the magic, a glow that stayed in memory long after the paper was in the trash. Number 3. The ceramic light-up Christmas tree in the corner. Every grandma seemed to own one of these. Some moms had them too, but grandma's was always the one that truly mattered. The ceramic Christmas tree was small but commanding. Its green surface glimmered under a soft glaze, dotted with tiny, plastic-colored bulbs that could be swapped in and out. And when it was plugged in, it radiated a warm, steady glow, just enough to cast gentle shadows on the walls, giving the room a magical, intimate feel. Kids were fascinated. They would hover nearby, pretending to read a book or play a board game, but secretly watching the tiny bulbs flicker and pulse. The scent of the living room, pine from the tree, the faint aroma of cookies, baking, mixed with that soft glow to create a memory that smells and feels like Christmas itself. And while touching it was generally forbidden, every curious hand found a way to sneak a bulb out or poke at the little plastic candle, knowing full well that Grandma's eagle eye was watching. It wasn't just decoration, it was a nightly ritual, a little beacon of the holidays that never turned off, keeping everyone in awe until bedtime. Number 4. The Firestone or Goodyear Christmas albums, spinning. Before streaming playlists or even cassette tapes, the holiday soundtrack came from vinyl records, and every 1970s Christmas Eve house had at least one spinning on the turntable. Firestone, Goodyear, and other tire companies handed out albums packed with Bing Crosby, Perry Como, and Johnny Mathis classics. Somehow, these tire shop giveaways became the official music of Christmas. The record player sat on the console, and the crackle of the needle landing on the vinyl added a certain magic that no digital playback could ever replicate. Moms adjusted the tracking arm just so, while the kids tiptoed around, not wanting to disturb the music that set the mood for the night. Each song marked a different moment, one for hanging ornaments, one for putting out milk and cookies, another for settling in with Coco to watch the tree lights twinkle. The albums weren't just background noise, they were a ritual, a soundtrack for family memories, and the smell of vinyl somehow mingled with pine, cookies, and that faint hint of smoke from the fireplace. Number 5. The 1970s Metal TV Tray Spread. Christmas Eve snacks weren't served on fancy china in the 1970s. They arrived on the humble metal TV tray, draped with a holiday-patterned towel or paper placemat. These trays were the adult version of holiday indulgence. Plates of cookies, cheese balls, olives, and sometimes Vienna sausages, all carefully arranged so the grown-ups could nibble while the kids waited impatiently for presents. The trays were the perfect height for balancing awkwardly on knees, yet somehow everything stayed in place until it didn't. A clumsy elbow or a too excited reach could send a tiny avalanche of treats across the carpet, eliciting a chorus of laughter and mild panic. Dads were usually the ones navigating this snack spread with a napkin in one hand and a beverage in the other, while moms occasionally scolded from the kitchen. For kids, It was mesmerizing. A miniature buffet of grown-up delights that smelled amazing, looked festive, and gave the tiniest taste of the holiday magic that awaited them under the tree. Number 6. The one gift you got to open early. Every 1970s Christmas Eve, there was one sacred rule. You got to open something before bed, usually pajamas or slippers, and nothing else. It was always a flat rectangular box that sparked a guessing game. Maybe it was new jammies, maybe fuzzy socks, but it had to be something you could wear to sleep. The unwrapping was both exhilarating and mildly disappointing. Pajamas were often itchy, slippers a little too stiff, but the joy wasn't really in the gift itself. It was in the ritual. You tore the paper with care, peeked at the tags, and immediately tried them on over whatever you were wearing. That early gift set the tone for the night. Anticipation, warmth, and that giddy feeling of being one step closer to the main event under the tree. Parents loved it too. It kept the kids occupied while they finished final preparations. Even decades later, the memory of that first small gift still feels like magic. And if this felt like stepping back into your childhood living room, go ahead and subscribe, because we're keeping these memories alive, one story at a time. And if you're on Facebook, come join our nostalgia community over there. That's where the real conversations happen. Stories, photos, and people who know exactly what Butterrum Lifesavers taste like. Number 7. The glowing window candles. Nothing announced Christmas is coming like the soft, flickering glow of 1970s window candles. These weren't real wax. They were plastic with tiny orange bulbs inside, designed to simulate a warm, dancing flame. Some were suction-cupped directly to the glass. Others waited to sit on the sill. Every house on the block participated, turning neighborhoods into glowing Christmas postcards. For kids, they were hypnotic. You'd press your face to the window, mesmerized by the steady glow, sometimes making up little stories about Santa's route or imagining elves peeking in through the panes. For adults, they were an easy decoration that made even the simplest window look festive. And because they were electric, you could leave them on all night, safe from wax drips and fire hazards, which meant waking up to that warm glow before heading downstairs was part of the Christmas Eve thrill. The combination of light, anticipation, and shared neighborhood tradition created a subtle, cozy magic that no modern LED decoration could fully replicate. Number 8. The last-minute battery panic.
I dare you to knock this off. I dare you to compare anybody's batteries, with alkaline power cells, and try to beat them for long life. You know what? You can't. When you want long-lasting energy, you can't buy a longer-lasting all-purpose power system than gold, red, and black alkaline power cells from Everready.
Every 1970s Christmas Eve included a frantic dash for batteries. Usually Dad digging through the junk drawer, flipping open the tin, and muttering under his breath about missing D cells. Somehow there was always one toy that needed a fresh battery right then, and the only ones available were borrowed from another gift, or worse, a long-forgotten flashlight.
Here are the current readings under partly sunny skies, barometer 30.1.
When you're out fishing, you count on your radio. So use the batteries you can count on too. Duracell.
The panic was universal, kids hovering nearby, hoping for a hint of what might come alive under the tree. While Mom rolled her eyes and reminded everyone to stay calm, you could hear the whirring of last-minute toy testing echo through the house. And somehow it added to the excitement rather than ruined it. Looking back, it's a memory full of chaos and warmth. The stress, the laughter, the glow of lights reflecting off wrapping paper, and the sense that Christmas Eve itself was alive with anticipation. Every battery change felt like part of a secret ritual, one that kids and parents alike still remember with a smile. Number 9. The shiny bright ornaments you couldn't break but did. Shiny bright ornaments were the iconic 1970s decoration. Thin glass, bold painted stripes, sometimes dusted with glitter. Every family had a box, usually missing a few dividers and with some mismatched ornaments, but that only added to their charm. One ornament inevitably shattered each year, sending everyone into a scramble to pick up shards and rescue the rest. The ornaments weren't just decorations, they were a memory machine. They reflected the tree lights, the glow of the color wheel, and sometimes even the flash from Polaroid cameras. Kids learned early to handle them carefully, but the truth was, the tiniest slip could turn a shiny globe into a sparkling disaster. Adults immediately deployed the vacuum cleaner and a sense of calm authority, while children hovered nervously, whispering apologies and admiring the rest of the collection. Those shiny bright ornaments were more than glass. They were a ritual of care, awe, and fleeting chaos, a perfect encapsulation of a 1970s Christmas Eve. Number 10. The color wheel turning the tinsel tree magical. The aluminum tree came alive once the color wheel started spinning. Red, blue, green, yellow. It didn't blink. It didn't make noise. It just turned slowly, hypnotically, transforming the room into something unreal. Modern lights can't touch it. Number 11. The Lifesavers storybook in every stocking.
This is Pete, who let the puck get by him and lost the hockey game.
Hey, son, have a wintergreen Lifesaver.
Was there a great flavor has been around for years and years?
You know, when I fumbled and lost the West High game, it took a whole roll of Lifesavers to make me feel better.
You didn't read it, you studied it. Butter rum was for adults. Peppermint was risky.
Watch this.
Lifesavers Roll Candy takes Suzanne Summers back home.
I did that better when I was a kid here in San Bruno, California, because my dad would give me cherry Lifesavers for every cartwheel, so I did lots of them.
And you weren't allowed to eat it until Christmas Day, which somehow made it more powerful. The cover art is burned into memory forever. Number 12. The 1970s Christmas Eve church outfit. Plaid skirts, wool pants, patent leather shoes that froze your toes, clip-on ties that never sat right. You walked out into the cold afterward, buzzing with excitement, knowing Christmas morning was close. Number 13. The Avon holiday figurines nobody could touch. They sat on top of the console TV, angels, choir boys, Santas. They looked like toys. They were not toys. Touching them resulted in immediate consequences. Number 14. The smell of pine, pot roast, cigarettes, and tinsel. Every 1970s, Christmas Eve smelled the same. Pine sap, dinner cooking, cigarette smoke, warm lights, one whiff and you're instantly back. Before you go, I want to hear your Christmas Eve memory. Was it the ceramic tree, the pajamas, the battery panic? Drop it in the comments, because I read everyone and I love featuring your stories in future videos. If it made you smile just remembering it, chances are it'll make someone else smile too. Number 15. The reading of "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." Someone read it every year. Slow, calm, familiar. Kids in pajamas pretending not to fall asleep. That line, "Not a creature was stirring," still pulls you right back to that carpet, that tree, that night. Christmas Eve in the 1970s wasn't flashy. It didn't try to impress. It was quiet, warm, and full of rules we secretly loved. And somehow, all these years later, it still feels like the most magical night of the year.